Hi, welcome along. Today is a Wednesday. It's Wednesday the 12th of August 2020. This is our noonday snack. You just caught me writing my shopping list ready to unpack later on. So this is our noonday snack, our second opportunity to get some additional movement minutes into our day. Just finish off my shopping list. Our second chance to add additional movement minutes onto our day. And our second opportunity to get ourselves moving. Now it's warm today, it's certainly warm here, it is really hot outside. So please make sure you've got some hydration into you today, during the day as well, okay? Bear with me one second, I just need to get myself a towel, if I can just have a towel. That's the first thing we need as far as our shopping and everything is concerned. There we go, thank you very much. If you're on catch up and this isn't the one you want, then go and find the one you want and join us a little bit later on. We'll see you on the catch up later. If you are staying around though, please say hello. Let me know you're here. Hi Christine and Christine. I can see the two Christines are in. Good to have you with us. I think that's Carol who's come in as well. And look, is it Vivian who's come in as well? I'm not sure if that's Maddie who's there as well. So say hello. Let me know you're all here. Gillian, good afternoon to you in from Port Talbot, a very hot Port Talbot. It is really warm here today as well. So please do make sure you keep yourself hydrated. Our noonday snack is going to be opening bottles. It's going to be unpacking the shopping and it's going to be vacuuming. So some activities that we relate to everyday life. Let me know where you are. Let me know how you've been doing. Have you been managing to stay cool this morning? Good afternoon to you, Gillian, in from Port Talbot as well. So we've got the Port Talbot posse with us. So we've got Gillian with the G and Gillian with the J in from Port Talbot. Clammy and humid, or very humid where you are. Yeah, it's a little bit the same here. It's one of these, isn't it? Maddie, I thought it was you, Maddie, from the picture. Good afternoon to you. Welcome along. Hot and humid where you are as well. Looking forward to a weekend when it's supposed to be cooler. Yes, it is warm. It is very, very warm, and a little bit of a breeze would help, wouldn't it? It's a little bit heavy. So please make sure that you stay hydrated and you stay cool as well. Vivian, did you have a thunderstorm last night? We had a fantastic one, loads of sheet lighting, but only a couple of big thumps from thunder. So we could have done with a little bit more thunder, I think, to clear the air a lot more. But it certainly felt a lot easier after we'd had a little bit of a rain as well. Roasting in the Highlands too for you, Penny. And Clive, good afternoon to you. Very, very hot. Right, make sure you've got some water available. So if you want to pause and take a drink, feel free to do so. Let's have our 3, 2, 1, everybody. Before I do that, if you want to lose the comments, swipe them to right and they will be gone. 3, 2, 1, good afternoon everybody. My name is Dave Montgomery from Later Life Training. Today is Wednesday the 12th of August 2020. Our noonday snack, our second opportunity to add additional movement minutes to our day. Work within your own capacity, so work within your own range and at your own speed. Remember that your speed and your range is exactly the right one. Don't feel you have to keep pace with anybody else. Before we do anything more, let's get ourselves mobilized, let's get our circulation boosted, and let's check our posture. So in our standing position, I've got fixed support to the side here, and to the side here I've also got a wall behind me, so lots of support around me. Heels are in line with our knees are in line with our hips. We're going to lift taller, so grow taller from our ribs, lifting the shoulders up, back, and pressing down, lengthening through the neck. I've mentioned this a couple of times over the last few days. Think about a marionette, a puppet, and being lifted from the head, so we're really standing tall with our feet on the floor. In our seated position, exactly the same as far as our posture is concerned. We just need to make sure that we're in the front third of the chair. So if you're at the back of the chair, hip walk to the front third of the chair. And as always, this is a great position to come from as far as coming to a standing position is concerned. So this is a great position to come to. From there, let's start our circulation booster, and we'll start with a heel lift. So we're coming up onto the toes and the balls of the feet, whether in a standing or a seated position, utilising our external support or not. From there, let's take it into a little march, And with this march, we're lifting the foot off the floor slightly, coming down onto the toes firstly, onto the ball of the foot, and then through to the heels. Now in a seated position, this can be quite a hard workout as far as your hip flexors are concerned. So if you start to feel it there, and it starts to become too much for you, they can tire really easily, those muscles. Either come back in here to your heel raise, or you can do a little toe tap in front. The choice is yours. Lots of options there for you. In our standing position, have a look at this foot. You can see that it's raising off the floor, but only slightly. I come down onto the toes, onto the ball of the foot, and then roll through to the heels. Let's add an arm movement in. And our arm movement is from our shoulder. We're generating that move from our shoulder, so really mobilising through the shoulders. Think about this posture still. So if we've started to let ourselves go, think about your posture. Set it for me and feel that mobilisation through that shoulder joint. Now, if you're in steady and stable, if you feel steady and stable in a standing position, change and come both arms in at the same time. If you're utilising your support, then take a pause every now and again, change your support to the other side and come back in with the other hand. Now, if you have support to the side of you, that may mean that you need to pause, take as many steps as you need, turning into your support, and then coming back in with the other side. Choice is yours, yeah? Another option for you is this canoeing motion. So fingers together, driving the elbows and shoulders back, so you're working through those shoulders again. Feel that mobility through your shoulders. We're going to do this for a minute or a couple of minutes, and what we're doing is we're warming the muscles, we're warming the joints, we're loosening the joints. We're getting the blood pumping around the body. We should feel as though we want to take a couple of deep breaths. So take a pause, feel as though you want to take a couple of deep breaths, and we're ready to go. So from there, let's start with our shopping, putting the shopping away, okay? So with this movement here, base of support a little bit wider than our shoulders. And what we're going to do is we're going to work into our trunk, but also into our shoulders. So the movement is going to be here. A little bend of the knee, a hinge from the hip, and a rotation coming diagonally to the side. We then lift to the centre, and then we take it across and up. Okay, so out of the bag and up into the cupboard. Have a look from the side, okay? So I've got a slight bend of the knee and a hip hinge to reach forward. Staying straight through the back, so I'm not rolling through my waist. I'm not bending at the waist, I'm hinging from my hip. Into the centre to straighten up. And then a hinge cross, a rotation across, a trunk rotation across, and a lift diagonally. Now those hands go to where you feel comfortable. So if you're here and you're here, that's fine. If you want to bring it down even lower, we can go to here, pause, and here. So lots of options for you, okay? Utilising your support, and then what you're going to do is reach down into your support, into the centre, and reach up, okay? In your seated position, front third of the chair, again, we've got this hinge from our hip, our feet flat on the floor, our hinge from the hip to come forward, into the centre, and then that rotation and reach to take it above your head. 3, 4 or 5 of those on each side, you choose, yeah? But do it either side as well. So you may want to do a few on this side firstly, with that trunk rotation, and try and keep your hips locked. And then we've done a few on that side, bring it across the other side. So we're still getting trunk rotation, and we're getting trunk rotation both ways. We're coming down here and we're taking it up. Because of this angle we're working at though, we're working the side of our trunk differently on each side. So change the side that you do it with. And personally, I prefer to do a few on one side, and then after I've done a few on that side, change and take it to the other. I find it's quite a change in position to go from side to side. I want you to really think about and focus on the hinge of the hip, not bending from our waist, reaching out but keeping your elbows soft, coming down into that little semi-squat, so you're not coming all the way down. It's a bit as if you're going to start to sit down, but we're not even getting to the halfway point, yeah? Just so we've got some flexibility and some support in our knees. Lovely. That's your first move. When you've done that, hold it there. Second move is where you need your towel. So with your towel, kitchen towel is all you really need. Pair of socks would do, pair of old socks would do. Fold it in half, and that will probably do you there actually. If I fold that anymore, I'm not going to be able to get my hands on it. So what I want you to do is the old 1 potato, 2 potato. I've got a towel with a loose thread. Okay. So 1 potato, 2 potato. Okay. Now, if we're in a seated position, the technique is exactly the same. We're in the front third of the chair. Sit tall. So if we've started to relax down, come back in. Reset your posture for me. Bring that upright posture back in, sitting and standing tall. Okay, have a look at the move. First move, we've done this before. Squeeze. Yeah. Now, squeezing there, I've got my elbows tucked in. I can feel this here, and you should be able to feel it into your forearm, but also around your fingers. Now, if you struggle, if you have any problems with your hands, what you might want to do is rather than fold it into quarters, I've folded it into 3 there. So you can see I've gone part way down and then brought it back up. So I've still got room to get my hands round, but it's now a bit bigger. So if I've got problems, if you've got problems closing your hands smaller, then you might want to get them a little bit bigger so you can still get that squeeze in there, but it's not so big. Does that make sense? I'm waffling today, it's the heat. Okay, so we're there. One hand on top, one hand on the bottom, we squeeze. That's our first movement, and exactly the same in our seated position. Have a look at movement number 2. I squeeze, and then I twist, and the elbows come in towards the body lock. The wrists come in towards the centre. So the twist is this way, wrists in, not wrists out. And you'll notice the difference there. If I take my wrists out, look, the elbows go out. If we turn inwards, the elbows are going to come in even further to the body. So that's the movement you want. So a squeeze and a twist. And this is really useful. Opening jars, loosening taps, opening taps, all those sorts of things. Yeah, it's about grip and it's about that wrist movement. This is designed to actually build strength into your wrist, and strength in our wrist is really important. It's one of our main points. If we are ever out and about and we need to reach for support, our hands do it, and you're taking weight down through your wrist at that point. So we need to build the strength within our wrist. Okay, so exactly the same in seated position again. Move 1, squeeze. Move 2, rotate inwards. Yeah. And now I can feel a bit of movement here. I can feel it into here, but I can really feel it into the wrist. So because I've turned inwards, I can feel into here with those wrists. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. Third part of it. Squeeze, twist, and then try and pull those. I lost you for a second then. Got a little gremlin on my phone who's really bugging me at the moment. So, did you see the little movement of the hands apart? So I squeeze, I twist, and I pull apart. Can you see that little movement? There's not a great deal. I'm not expecting big movement there, yeah? And also, what you need to do, focus, look, I'm keeping the elbows tucked in. So I'm not going like this to pull it apart, all right? Exactly the same in our seated position. So now we've got the grip, the twist, and the pull. And you're going to feel that into your arms. You're going to feel it here, and you're going to feel it here. But you will feel it more on the top hand. So what you're going to do for me, after you've done a few of those, change your hands around. One on the top, one on the bottom. These other 2 moves, it doesn't matter about the hand where they are. But this last move, with that pull apart, the top hand is doing more, and as I say, you will feel, you won't see a great deal of movement there. You may not even see any movement, but you'll feel it. All right, you hold it for as much as 5 seconds at the most, no more than that. If you can only do it briefly and then release, that's fine. Again, you work within your own level, so up to 5 seconds, no more. Move number 2. Okay, move number 3 is our vacuuming. So in our standing position, external support here. Got the pussycat walking through, look. She's giving me a stare as if to say, what are you doing, Dad? Right, so from here, I've got my heels just outside my hips, so we've got a good base of support to work from. We step forward onto our heel of the foot and then come down onto the toes and then up onto the toes at the back. That's the foot movement, okay? So we go heel, toe, and onto the heel. And at the same time, we take the hand out, and then we bring it back as we put the heel down and step back in, toe and heel. So heel, toe, onto the toes at the back, and back in. If you're utilising your support, change side every now and again. So do a few, change side. In your seated position, then exactly the same movement, but we may not feel the need to come up onto our toes at the back. So heel down, toe, and we've got that hinge from our hip this time. So the hinge wasn't as exaggerated in a standing position, and you're going to take that hand forward and back. Now, this back leg is optional, so you can bring it onto your toes if you feel comfortable with it. Come back in, toe, heel to step in. Heel, toe, hinge from your hip, and reach forward. So you're reaching forward, but don't take it too far. We don't want to go outside of our centre of balance. We're challenging it because we're moving our centre of gravity. A few on one side, and then change to the other side. So step and reach. Okay? If you feel steady and stable in a standing position, then without your support, exactly the same. Forward and back, and you may want to change every time. Okay? But can you see how heel toe at the front, onto my toes at the back, and then I push through my heel to bring myself back up at the front. Think about your supporting leg. Think about your moving leg. And if you feel unsupported there, so if I did it a little bit narrower, can you see how I'm a little bit wobbly? So here's our normal stance when we talk about posture. Come a little bit wider. So when you do step out, you've got a bigger base of support. If I do it from here, look, can you see the difference? It's this narrow stance as opposed to this stance. So that's what the stance was last time. Have a look at the difference. Yeah? So there's your third move. 3 moves for you to work on this afternoon, and 3 things that fit into everyday life. Putting the shopping away, we've got that rotational move. Picking something up, coming in, putting it down, and it may not be exaggerated as we did there. You may not be coming from here straight into a cupboard. You might be down into a shopping bag and onto the work surface, hence the little pause in the middle. You may put your bag onto the work surface, so you've got that movement there. But by adding that reach in as well, we're putting a little more of a challenge in, and we're working into our trunk at the same time. Move number 2, with your towel, working on the strength of your wrist. So bottle opening, taps, all those sorts of things it's going to help with. And number 3, a task we all do, vacuuming. But it's challenging our balance with that movement forward. And remember, if we go back to our mobility in the morning, this is a move we do at the end of our mobility, isn't it? We step forward, we come onto the toes. We're just taking that stage further by putting an arm movement in there as well. And that arm movement is coming from your shoulder. Yeah? As I come forward, look in this standing position, I'm staying upright. I'm not bending at my waist, and I'm not hinging from my hip. In our seated position, there is a hinge from your hip, so you can get that reach forward into it. There you go, there's your 3 movements. Think about how you can crowbar those into the rest of the day. I'm off back into the garden with I think a glass of water over my head for me. Make sure you stay hydrated the rest of the day, so make sure that you keep drinking and keep getting water into you, okay? Have a wonderful afternoon. Bex will be with you at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and I'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.